Good morning, everybody. Sam here, United People's TV live, as always, Monday to Friday with MUFC Daily. How are you all doing? Where are you watching this from? Thank you for waiting patiently in the comments. Can't wait to get involved in today's show. As I said, where you're watching this from, let me know, and I'll try and give you a shout out throughout the show. But today's talking point is Ander Herrera, our little Basque midfielder. Ander Herrera last year was phenomenal for Manchester United. Manchester United's player of the season. I hailed him as a potential future captain of Manchester United. You know, when we signed him from Athletic Bilbao, I always loved him straight away. His style of play, his commitment, he knew what it meant to play for Manchester United. But this season under Jose Mourinho, we have seen a very different Ander Herrera as far as I'm concerned. His form has dipped, his intensity has dipped on and off the ball. Ander Herrera was, for me, undroppable last season. He made himself such an influential figure in the middle of midfield that I couldn't imagine a United team without Ander Herrera in it. But right now, Ander Herrera's form has been very, very poor this season. And I want to know from you, what has happened to Ander Herrera? What do you think has happened to Ander Herrera? For me, there's one clear reason as to why his form has dropped, but I want to know from you, is it to do with new arrivals? Is it to do with his temperament? Is he doing okay, and am I just being unfair and trying to single out Ander Herrera unnecessarily? Let me know what you think in the comments. But for me, there's one clear reason as to why we're seeing a different Ander Herrera this year. If you remember Ander Herrera last season, fantastic. He was playing in a defensive midfield role for Manchester United. And his form got him into the Spain squad, the Spain senior squad, for the first time in his career. That's how good he was playing. Then Nemanja Matic was bought in the summer. Nemanja Matic became Jose Mourinho's go-to defensive midfielder. And it took that responsibility away from Ander Herrera and forced him into playing a different type of central midfield position, which he's actually more naturally suited to, because let's remember, he isn't a defensive midfielder. Last year, he was put in that role and he changed and just thrived in that role. But typically, he's been a ball-playing central midfielder, which is the role he's playing this year. Take the West Brom game, for example. Matic playing left central midfield, Herrera playing right central midfield where Pogba would normally play. And Ander Herrera was just doing all the small things wrong. Whether it be a short pass to teammates, losing the ball, running into trouble, trying to do a diagonal. It seemed like a player for me who had lost his confidence, and a player who sometimes was over trying to impress, and it just wasn't working out for him. And I'm really, really confused as to why that is the case with Ander Herrera. As I said, I do think that Matic's arrival has changed the dynamic for Ander Herrera, because all of a sudden Jose Mourinho's got his starting midfield pair. He knows if Nemanja Matic and Paul Pogba are fit, both of those players are starting in midfield, and there's nothing Ander Herrera can do about that. But I'm just very surprised at how much that form has dipped. I would expect it to go down somewhat, but I'm a little bit surprised, as I said. Right, let's read a few comments out. We've got Keith Robinson watching from Ireland. Good morning to you. And good morning, Wayne Bless Gordon from New York. Bozan in green there saying the introduction of Matic killed his vibe. Boston Dornan watching from New Zealand. And Bess Kittikun watching from Thailand. Good morning to all of you. What about over on YouTube? We've got Nicholas Myers, good morning from Barcelona, saying it's Matic's arrival. Matic and Pogba are such a dominant presence in that midfield that Herrera has lost his identity. And Paul McKeown saying, think he needs to be in a three-man midfield with Matic and Pogba and gets the contract he deserves. And Herrera, like Juan Mata, like Daley Blind, I think, as well, all out of contract in the summer. Could it really be that we go from last season where Ander Herrera won Player of the Year, was heavily linked with Barcelona, and we're all like, Barcelona, go away. Ander Herrera's going nowhere. He's here to stay. To then having a poor season and then leaving United on a free the next summer, I never in a million years would have expected that to happen with Ander Herrera. That's how good he was last year. We've got Active Dan saying Ander Herrera never used to pass it backwards. He was always driving with the ball and passing it forward. Don't forget, he used to be a central attacking midfielder at Athletic Bilbao. And I agree with that. Ander Herrera, he was fantastic in the defensive midfield role last year. But that wasn't his natural role. That's why he'd always struggled to get into that Spain squad when you got the likes of Xavi, Iniesta, Koke, Sorniguez, so many central midfield type players who were just ahead, and Juan Mata as well, who were just ahead of Ander Herrera. That the only time he got into it was when he changed himself into a defensive midfielder and offered Spain an alternative to Sergio Busquets. That's when he got into the Spain squad. That's when he became vital for United. But that's been taken away from him by Nemanja Matic's arrival. It's just, I'm very confused as to how he hasn't then just adapted back into the normal type of central midfielder he is and has been previously in his career. It seemed like he really, really enjoyed playing that defensive midfield role. Got Dot Star watching from Manchester, good morning to you. And Tony from Namibia. Ice Age watching from Malaysia. And Dean from Kavkaz. We've got Mayank saying that Herrera is definitely over trying. And I do think that is a big part of it. I think Ander Herrera now feels obliged to put in a barnstorming performance every time he plays. Previously, that was an asset for him. His game was intense. Yeah, he was buzzing around. Sometimes he missed a tackle, but he had so much intensity that he would win the ball back anyway. He would just piss off anybody else playing in that midfield because it's so hard to play against Herrera because of how much energy and drive he had. And he had the quality going forward. I remember a ball that Ander Herrera did last year at home. Can't remember who it was against. I think it was through to Rashford. Just split the defence. Perfect through ball, on the floor, measured. Haven't seen that at all from Ander Herrera this year. And we could have seen it on so many occasions against West Brom. They played with such a deep defence that it was given the central midfield space to look up and try and find those passes. But Ander Herrera couldn't cut through that defence. Arwan Awasti saying it's basically all down to confidence. The Herrera-Matic partnership does not work. Both are similar types of players. Whenever Pogba plays with Matic, you have creativity and a defensive shield. Now, I do disagree. I think Herrera naturally is a creative central midfielder. A bit like when Fabregas plays in a midfield three. You would expect Fabregas and Herrera to be the person carrying the ball forward. Herrera's just not doing that. Matic has taken over the defensive duties, but it seems like Ander Herrera almost still wants to do those, and he won't get in ahead of Nemanja Matic, not when he was fit. It was against Chelsea, says Abdullah Saeed. I think you're right there, mate. That 2-0 against Chelsea at Old Trafford. But we haven't seen that much from Herrera this year. It's such a shame. Calvin Ross saying, good morning, I think he should play in a 3 midfield and in the second half he can be a number 10. I don't see Ander Herrera playing number 10 too much, but because Jesse Lingard's playing well there. But maybe with the Henrik Mkhitaryan out of form, Jose Mourinho could consider it. I don't know, it seems like maybe there's a little bit of trust gone there. I'm not sure. Zongazelli saying Ander Herrera is a naturally gifted midfielder and he is not even a defensive midfielder. I think his momentum was hampered by Pogba and Matic's arrival. He's trying too hard now. And Dot Star saying, I love Herrera, but he is not consistent enough. There are a few players I would sell, Blindamian and Herrera. We need a world-class attacking midfielder. Well, that brings me on to the point there. Do you think that Manchester United should be offering a new contract to Ander Herrera before his contract runs out this summer? Type yes or type no in the comments now, and I'll calculate all the votes and I'll see what you think. But as I said, for Ander Herrera to go from winning player of the year to the next summer leaving on a free would just be mind-boggling. A massive, massive decline of a player who isn't in decline as far as his, how old is Ander Herrera? 27? He must be around 27. He is 28, born in August, so he's going to be 29 next August. He's still got a couple of years left in sort of technically the prime of his career as far as a central midfielder goes. I don't think Man United should be getting rid of him. I think United need to get the best out of him, but I don't know how we do that with the current setup we've got. With the current, you're playing in the midfield too, you're not going to get the best out of Ander Herrera, really. You play him either as the bottom of a midfield diamond when he's playing a defensive midfielder, or you get him in a midfield 3 somewhere. Let's see what you think in the comments here. Loads and loads of comments coming in. Thank you all for your comments. We've got Dot Star saying no, Nicholas Myers saying no, Salvius Rodriguez saying no, but Mayank, Shahid, Ananthu, Frederick, Gabriel all saying yes on YouTube. Harry Tyson, yes too. We've got Angela Waits, Manasseh, Saka. You're all saying yes, keep him on Facebook. We've got Saka Don, you're saying no. But I would say 65-35 are in favour of keeping Ander Herrera at the club, and I completely agree with you. I don't even want to entertain the idea of letting Ander Herrera go because I think he can still be a very good player for Manchester United. But I think now is a time where we should have the discussion of what's happened to Ander Herrera. How do we get the most out of Ander Herrera? Let me know in the comments. Do we need a formation change? Is it just a confidence thing? Will he come back towards the end of the season? Keep leaving your views and opinions below. I'll take a look at them. Maybe we can get into a conversation. Thank you all for joining in MUFC Daily today. I'll be here tomorrow as always. Until then, take it easy.